I could, I mean, the level of coordination through all of the departments in the city on any capital improvement projects, if we can get in before that work is completed, that's a better use of these funds.
Right.
To get the lead out and maybe not have to fully resurface. This is not a resurfacing contract.
No, I know
We don't
that.
do streets with these dollars, we do lead. And that's our primary focus. So any streets that council has identified and is confident in it being on their list, we're not at Public Works, and I don't want to get in the middle
No,
of
no, I
any of
understand.
that. But the sooner that council or the administration or anybody in our service area, including in the suburbs, is confident of a road work, we can get in and get the lead out fairly quickly.
Right, but I think we're scheduled, or we're under the auspice that all the lead has to be out by 2037?
Current
Is that
federal
what it is?
lead and copper rule gives us a very stringent timeline. We're trying everything, bless you, to meet that. But this is specific to the BIL dollars and what we understand today to be the last year of it. So we're going to be as aggressive as we possibly can be.
Right, but I'm talking in general overall, right? We have, I think, till 2037.
As current federal law dictates,
Right.
however, there are no identified funding streams.
I get,
Yes.
I understand that, but I think the point is that I think we want to get the lead out if we're able to coordinate prior to resurfacing of a street, because the last thing we want to do is resurface a street. 2 years later, oh, look, this street's getting the lead line out, and now we've got a street with 25 utility cuts in it because we replaced the street. So that's just
Very true.
really to not only the DPU, but to my colleagues as well, that hopefully I'll be able to send the list out to my colleagues shortly with streets identified with lead in them.
Perfect.
Any questions on 6/24/2026? Seeing none, 6/24/2026 stands approved. Please sign up. Ordinance number 551/2026 by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with North Coast Process Controls, Inc. for proprietary valves, actuators, appurtenances, and other components of the valve actuator system and labor and materials needed to repair, replace, maintain, exercise, inspect, and test existing equipment, and to provide related services for the Division of Water, Department of Public Utilities for a period of 2 years. Director, you know how I feel about direct award contracts, but please explain why this needs to be a direct award.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, a recurring ordinance specific to the actuator valves, specifically Rotork and Versa brand actuator valves. There are hundreds of these valves throughout, in the water treatment plants, but throughout the distribution network of Cleveland Water. These valves are, again, the service of these valves and replacement of these valves is proprietary in our region, which is North Coast Process Controls. We budget approximately $200,000 a year on a requirements contract basis for, again, repair and/or replacement. The most important function of the actuator valve, and the commissioner certainly could get into details, is its connectivity to the process controls at the plants, so they can be manipulated at the push of a button from the control network, and then in any event, in any instance throughout the day, the maintenance and the proper functioning of these valves is critical to what we do for our customers, so we are seeking authority to continue that relationship.
All right, any questions on 551/2026? Seeing none, 551/2026 stands approved. Please sign up. Ordinance number 1218/2025 by council members Hairston, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance determining the method of making the public improvements of constructing high-comfort pedestrian and bicycle improvements at various locations, authorizing the Director of City Planning Commission, Public Works. Sorry about that, Director. And/or capital projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvements and professional services contracts needed for the improvements, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchases and supplies to acquire, accept, and record the right-of-way proposal, real property and easements, authorizing the director to accept rights of entry from private property owners, authorizing the director to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts needed to effectuate the ordinance, including purchases and requirement contracts needed to effectuate the ordinance, including vehicles and equipment, and to enter into other agreements to execute documents necessary to conduct the program. Director, I believe this came to us because at the last hearing, it was mentioned that there was going to be EV charging stations
Yes.
put up throughout the city. So, first of all, you can give us your executive summary, I guess, before we go into questions.
Okay, sure. So the legislation is authorizing us to utilize money from NOAC, a grant that was given to us from NOAC for the CMAQ program, which will allow us to implement parts of our bicycle network, to make several key connections through that network, as well as piloting electric waste and collection vehicles. As you said, we previously presented to MSP. We, in fact, presented twice. The first time there was a request for us to come back with information that about our community engagement process, as well as meeting with the individual council members. We completed all of that, and then the final request was that we come to this committee to discuss the EV charging portion of this project.
All right, has the design been finalized yet for this program?
The design, so in terms of where we're implementing this, there is a map, and I'm not sure if that was shared with this committee.
Right, I understand there's a map, but okay, so let me just use the portion that's in my ward, right?
Okay.
I know that Berea Road from Triscuit to Detroit, I had one meeting with a group of individuals regarding that, but has the design been finalized yet for that?
Okay, that I'm not sure. I can get back to you on that. I'll have to discuss it with our
All right,
staff.
can you let us know if the design of this?
Sure.
This is a very big project, right? And if this is gonna be bicycle lanes throughout these whole projects, I know that in my portion of my ward, it's a semi-industrial site. It's a lot of truck traffic, so, I just wanna make sure that each council member is gonna be okay with the design.
Right.
And work with you guys and the local community and businesses before we start tearing up
Okay.
major thoroughfares in the city. And
Yeah,
then-
I know anytime we are moving forward with any type of implementation project like that, we typically have community meetings to discuss these things.
Right.
Because, one, it interrupts traffic flow, different things like that. And so we make sure that we have that communication, not only with the residents, but also with council. So
Yeah, and I would
that-
highly
that will
recommend,
happen.
at least in my ward, right? And I'm sure I can speak for other council members, that there is community engagement if we're gonna be,
Yes.
if we're gonna be doing something. This is citywide, but these are long stretches of roads. And then
Right.
to Chief, the EV stations, how many, where are they going?
Sure.
I just wanna make sure that we're just not dropping EV stations all over the place. you
Right.
know.
To the chair, yes. So for the portion of the congestion mitigation air quality grant for the EVs, this is actually on the fleet side, so that's not a public-facing
Okay.
charging station. And this is for the purchase of what would have been internal combustion engine diesel refuse trucks. And this grant pays for the difference to make those 4 of those trucks electric vehicles. The match for $500,000 is the charging station. 2 fleet charging stations to be installed at the Division of Waste.
Okay, so these charging stations aren't for public use?
Correct.
These are for fleet, and then they're gonna be at 55th or Ridge Road?
Yes, Division of, yes, thank you. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right. Any questions on 12/18/2025? All right, seeing none, 12/18/2025 stands approved. And these EV stations, not for public use?
Correct, these are not for public use, they are for the use of Division of Waste and
Okay.
Public Works vehicles that are electric vehicles.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance 620, 2026, by council members Harsh, Santana, Casey, Slife, and Griffin. By departmental request. Sorry about that, Director. An emergency ordinance determining the method of making public improvements by constructing solar power generation facilities, authorizing the Director of Finance, Public Utilities, and/or Port Control as appropriate to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvements, authorizing other contracts for the purchase of items or other services not covered under a public improvement, and to accept grants, gifts, and other funding for the improvement. Director, this is a $8,950,000 project, correct? At least that's the certificate of funds. But it's
So
more
through-
than that. It's more than that, isn't it?
To the chair, if I may just do a little introduction of the full project. So under the US EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Implementation Program, the City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and the City of Paynesville earned grant funding. And for the City of Cleveland portion, the grant funding is $14.8 million for the grant side of things. We are seeking authority from council to complete solar projects on 2 Cleveland landfills through design, build, and other applicable contract agreements, as well as some on-site native pollinator plantings, at both sites in a naturalized park area at West Mountain
I
site.
don't mean to interrupt, Chief, but
Sure.
we have a certificate of funds here for $8,950,000, okay?
So
In
if
the
I
in
could-
the legislation, it's $14,882,505. Director?
Thank you, Chairman. So we have certified funds at both the Department of Public Utilities and the Department of Port Control in an effort to meet some necessary timelines for the investment tax credits. The grant that we expect to be reimbursed, we expect and hope to be reimbursed by is the total value identified in the ordinance as 14.8. So we did use some of our existing dollars that's where the certificate of funds came from through the Director of Finance. So that's the discrepancy in the numbers between the 8 and the 14.
All right, so is this total 23 million then?
No, it's a total of $14 million grant from the US EPA.
Okay, 14.88, right?
Yes.
Is a grant from the EPA?
Yes.
Where's the 8.9 million coming from?
Currently, that's split between the Department of Public Utilities and the Department of Port Control as identified in the funding portion of the ordinance.
Right.
Again, the primary purpose is to meet some investment tax credit deadlines. It took a long time to get here. We've been talking about this for a long time, and we needed to do that in an effort to front the money in anticipation of getting it reimbursed through the grant. That's the intention of the ordinance.
All right, the 8.9 million that Water and Port Control, is it water or DPU?
It's Cleveland Public Power,
Or CPP?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Is
the Department
fronting?
of Port Control, yes.
Is that going to be reimbursed when you get the 8 with the 14 million?
That's correct, Chairman.
Have we gotten the 14 million yet?
We have not, Chairman.
And you're saying in the ordinance, it says the breakdown from each department?
Under
Through the
section
chair.
12.
12?
Under section 12.
Yep.
To the chair, that information may be in the RQS itself.
I'm just seeing there. Well, it doesn't state specifically, so how much is Cleveland Public Power and how much is Port? What's the
Cleveland,
breakup?
Chairman, $3.5 million has been identified in Cleveland Public Power's existing power portfolio as approved by council. And then the balance,
The 5.
5.7.
5.7.
Correct.
Law school, no math.
2.5.
I think, Commissioner, this $3.5 million, CPP can afford that, and it's already laid out and budgeted for?
Correct. This was part of the budget,
Okay.
the chair.
All right, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go, Chief.
Sure. So with the authority from council, these will be 2 solar projects on 2 landfills through a design-build process and other applicable contract agreements, as well as some native pollinator plantings at both sites. And at the West 11th Spring Road site will be a parklet area on that site. As just explained, the majority of the project funding will come from the grant funds, 14.8, with other project costs through federal credits available for clean energy projects. So clean electricity projects, the credits that we're talking about have a timeline associated with them, which is why we're coming to you today. And we're happy to answer any questions about, the 2 sites you have you should have loaded there. One site is the Coltoff Road landfill, just south of the Cleveland Hopkins Airport. The other site is the West 11th Spring Road landfill in the Old Brooklyn neighborhood.
All right, what entity will be the beneficiary of the West 11th project?
Chairman, the West 11th will be owned and to the benefit of the customers of Cleveland Public Power.
It's going to be owned by Cleveland Public Power?
That's correct,
When
Chairman.
this is all done?
Yes.
And then who's going to own the one on Coltoff?
It will be owned by the Department of Port Control.
Okay, and we know that Cleveland Public Power does not power
Yet.
the airport, correct? All right. Obviously, we've been going round and round about this for quite a long time. It's had its media day. Does this piece of legislation, if passed today, in any way, shape, or form, allow Cuyahoga County to come in, have its own solar panels, hook into our grid at all, or into our transformer lines or our substations? Because this was a big holdup that we've had numerous conversations with, right? Is that we don't want to help support a third utility, a third electric utility in the city. So I just want to make sure that this does not give Cuyahoga County the ability to come in and start its own utility.
So, Chairman, if I may, I mean, the support isn't not quite the correct word. There have been a lot of discussions about other projects in the city of Cleveland proper, and with a number of different entities. But the importance and the significance of this ordinance, it is owned by the city of Cleveland through grant dollars. So it's a huge opportunity for us. By way of any other partners or municipalities or governmental entities, there have been a lot of conversations throughout the last year and a half, 2 years, but brought us to this point, which we are all in tremendous support of, to the benefit of our customers and our asset at the Port Control, with the help of the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and Council, to directly impact the customers that we serve every day. So the answer to your question is yes, that this does not allow anybody to come into the city of Cleveland and serve power customers. These are assets of our customers that we are getting through a significant opportunity through the federal government that we hope stays available.
All right, everything's been signed off on, PURPA compliance, all that other stuff, PUCO, everything's good to go?
Yes, Chairman. So that's why this is owned by the customers of Cleveland Public Power and by the Department of Port Control. There are no further federal agreements. There are no other entities transmitting power on the distribution network owned by our customers. So, yes, this has had its way and had different talking points throughout the years. We are confident that we are at a very good place now to execute, and now it's a matter of timeliness, which is why some of those dollars from the power generation bucket of Cleveland Public Power are included, and from the airport and all of their partners to have a direct reduction in their consumption from the grid. Renewable power remains our commitment. It remains a huge part of the energy, I can't think of a different word, that we put into our power portfolio. With the help of Director O'Keefe and her team, amazing team at the Mayor's Office of Sustainability, this opportunity was brought to us, and we need to get it to the finish line. And it's just a really cool opportunity with two enterprise funds with Director of Sustainability kind of leading the helm with finance to get it there. But long way to answer your question is that these are assets of our customers, both at the airport and at Cleveland Public Power, and we're excited by the opportunity.
All right. And Director Bryant, redoing the airport, brand-new airport, this isn't going to hinder that, the redoing of the airport. It's not going to be in the way. It's far enough out. The FAA is okay with this and everything?
To the chair, yes, this will be a benefit to the airport and the need for power to sustain the operation at CLE, and certainly is a very definitive step in sustainability, moving in the right direction. I did also want to mention that, for us, we don't have, let's call it a savings account per se. So this did have to get presented to our signatory airline partners, and Director O'Keefe did a fantastic job in explaining the project, all of the funding mechanisms, and answering all of the questions to the satisfaction of the airlines. And they were 100% supportive of moving forward and allocating the $5.7 million to the project in order for it to be able to proceed.
So that's, I forgot that point. It's coming from the airlines, correct?
That's correct. We've established the source of funds that they had to approve, and they have done so.
Okay. And Director, do you know how much your electric bill is per year out at the airport?
I'll have Assistant Director Kramer to address that. I do know that we are expecting several $100,000 in savings once this is fully operational. Director O'Keefe may be able to speak to that as well.
Yes, thank you to the chair. The savings, I don't know the annual, and I can get the annual for you, but the savings will be after this is electricity is flowing in January 2028, will be on average over $400,000 a year across a 30-year period. That'll start out on the lower end, and then it'll ramp up, and that is a conservative estimate.
Chief, how do you know what the savings will be if you don't know what the price is?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I can get the annual, but we've done the cost-benefit analysis. So it'll be about, it's 18% of the consumption. So I can do a little math there, but the savings is about $420,000 annually across a 27-year period. And that's 18% of the consumption. That is consumption from First Energy. So that is power that will not be purchased from First Energy, but will be generated locally on a landfill that really has no other purpose at the moment.
All right, and then since you mentioned it, what is the time frame for this to be up and running?
Sure, thank you for that question. So the time frame is that with the authority for council to move forward, in early June, we would confirm the selection of design build firm through the Board of Control resolution. In June, we'd hire and contract the selected design build firm coupled with to meet the deadlines for the investment tax credit and start the design phase of the project. The project would be about 18 months. There's a project at West 11th, CPP. There's a project at the airport, roughly the same timeline, 18 months each in parallel. January 2028, electricity would be flowing, and that's when we would be receiving all the cost benefit. And then the tax credits would be received in June 2028.
Is this out to bid yet?
To the chair, yes, it has been issued, an RFP has been issued in collaboration with CPP, Port Control, Finance, Mayor's Office of Capital Projects, and Sustainability. The review team issued a RFP.
All right, any questions on 6/20/2026? Councilwoman Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to go back to some of the numbers. You said that it was, to the director, $3.5 million from CPP's existing portfolio. I'm sorry, what was the other $5.7 million? Where's that money coming from?
Chairman, to the council member, that's from the Department of Port Control through their signature airlines. So that's what Director Francis was talking about.
Okay, thank you. And so the site that's at the airport, that's the site that will be owned by the port?
That's correct. Chairman of the council member, that's correct.
Yes, through the chair. That's currently airport land, and that will that will be utilized for the solar project. So it will continue to be within our property.
Okay, thank you. And as the chairman pointed out, the airport is not a customer of Cleveland Public Power. Can you explain how that will work? How the, how the power will supplement, a First Energy customer?
So Chairman of the Council Member, essentially behind the meter is the preferred approach, so it would not get onto the distribution network and would reduce their consumption through First Energy. If not, it would be through coordination with First Energy on the distribution network, with the understanding that ultimately our goal is to serve the airport from Cleveland Public Power's perspective, but that's a work in progress. So either one of two ways, a behind the meter reduction in their consumption or a coordination with a renewable generation facility into the airport, again, reducing what they're buying from the grid, therefore helping the Department of Port Control significantly.
Okay, so it's not directly, it's subsidizing the airport's use, but it's not benefiting First Energy.
That, Chairman of the Council Member, that's correct.
Okay, and then through the chair, how do you have, and to the director, regarding the site that is on Spring Road that is owned by the city of Cleveland, do you have an estimate of how much power that will generate or how much that will save over time?
Yeah, I can.
Director
you wanna-
does.
Okay, yes. So
I have
to
it
the-
somewhere.
to the chair, through the chair to the councilwoman, yes, approximately up to, we have about annually between 200,000 and 400,000 if we hit the full amount of 3 megawatts.
Okay, thank you. And will that, help offset the cost of, everyday residents' electric bills?
I'll let the Commissioner.
CPP.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Through the chair, yes, absolutely, and that's 100% the goal. This will show up on the power supply side, so where you see it on the bill is under power supply, and it will both reduce the energy consumption and the cost of, basically, it's called peak shaving, so some of the costs of capacity and transmission, because it generally generates during those peak periods. So it's overall going to be a continued net benefit, especially as market costs go up.
Okay, thank you. And I imagine, I applaud this project, but I imagine that that's a, small fraction of what's needed to really make a meaningful difference in folks' energy bills. Are there plans for more projects like this to help offset that ever-increasing cost?
And through the chair, absolutely. We have another one smaller in the works, but it's 100% through the city and actively looking at other areas and opportunities.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Director, the 3.5 and 5.7, are those just estimates? Because we got 8.9 and that equals 9.2. Is there,
Chairman, they're all estimates at
all
this
right,
point.
all
What
right.
I do know from the power generation bucket that council approved for CPP, it was $3.5 million and
Okay.
5.7. We're going to, everything in this project is determined by the market, right? We have to go out and we have to play in a market that is aggressive and it is changing. It is fluctuating every day. So I can assure you that this would be a transformative project by which all of the respected divisions, not only represented today, but with the Department of Finance and the mayor's office, will keep council well informed as we progress, because we're going to need you multiple times through this. So this is what we believe to be a collective win.
All right, and-
we'll share all those details.
so if DPU and the port is fronting the $8.9 million, right, when do they anticipate being paid back through the $14 million grant?
If I may.
Sure.
Sure. Okay, so to the chair, the $14 million grant would be expended first, and project costs would be reimbursed on a monthly basis up until we spent the $14.8 million. And then the investment tax credit would be refunded the following year in 2028 after the projects are complete.
Didn't you say earlier that the 8.9 was upfront dollars to get the project
correct.
going?
That's correct, Chairman.
Okay.
And it is the case, and there are strict timelines associated with this. We don't know what it will cost to generate these facilities, so we can't answer as to when it would be refunded. But our hope is sooner than later. At the end of the day, both our customers and council approved this bucket of dollars for local generation of renewable power. So as soon as we meet those necessary criteria, then we will be made whole.
All right, and the $14 million grant is already with the county, correct? They've
Chairman,
already
that's
received
correct.
it. How come, why do we need to front the 8.9 then?
Again,
If-
that was-
If the money's already there.
It's on a reimbursement basis. We haven't spent any money yet, but in order to meet the thresholds for the investment tax credits, these dollars need to immediately be available. The ordering of solar panels and the site prep kind of things are down the line, so those were just necessary contributions in order to ensure that we meet these deadlines. So it's,
Okay. So by the time this project is up and running, January 2028, I think you said it was, we should be close to getting reimbursed by then because we're just expending it. The money's already there from the county. It's just a matter of them just giving it back to us then. correct?
Chairman, that's correct.
Okay. Any other questions on 6/20/2026? Councilwoman Gray.
Since I came in onto the conversation, I was wondering, Chair, to the Director, there was not a reason why this could have been communicated to the residents so they can have an understanding of this process?
Chairman, to the council members, so we have had initial conversations, well, in the asset of Cleveland Public Power, right? It is surrounded by a neighborhood, and Director O'Keefe and her team have done a tremendous amount of outreach to the neighborhood. I can't speak to Coltoff Road because really the only neighbor is the IX Center. I don't think a lot of people live around it, to my knowledge. I live down the street, but I wouldn't be able to see it from my house. So we anticipate, and part of the project includes public information
Correct.
and education as we hopefully gain momentum and support from the community.
And if I may add
Yes.
to the comments, through the chair, we've also worked with Councilman Harsh in Old Brooklyn neighborhood and the Old Brooklyn CDC to tour the site and have conversation.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I did speak with Councilman Harsh and Slife, and they're both in agreement with the project.
Okay.
Anybody else on 6/20/2026? Seeing none, 6/20/2026 stands approved. This still has to go through DPS, Transportation, and Finance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chief. Ordinance number 630/2026 by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to repeal ordinance 583-2023 passed October 2nd, 2023, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into a development agreement with Sci-Fi Networks Cleveland LLC or its designee, successor, or assignees to install, operate, and maintain a citywide fiber optic network system in the city's public right-of-way. Chief, I know you were not here when we brought this. I was overly skeptical when the administration brought this to us in 2023. I think my quote at the table was, "We're going to be supportive, but there's no way this is ever going to work out." Please tell me that I wasn't wrong when I said that.
To the chair, thank you for having me at the Utilities Committee this morning. Though the long story short is, yeah, you were right. Over the last couple of years, again, as I'm stepping into the role, I'm just taking over this project. But over the last couple of years, this one has not moved forward, and this is giving us some legislative hygiene here, where we are cleaning up and just declaring that this one hasn't moved, and it's giving us the opportunity to go identify what are our next options. Because installing a broadband network is still really important. We do have broadband through good parts of the city, but making sure that we have broadband through the entire city, and we're doing that is critical for our residents, is critical to make sure we can provide high-speed internet, and this is giving us the opportunity to say cleanly, breaking ties.
Right, and you can just add us to the list of growing number of cities that are pulling out from Sci-Fi.
It's absolutely true. This is not a unique circumstance for us. unfortunately. And unfortunately, Sci-Fi spent a lot of time and energy to pitch this to a lot of cities where it didn't work out.
Right.
So we're just on the list.
And one of the reasons is because they do have the authority to start coming in and trenching and all that other stuff and boring and all throughout the whole city. And we just want to repeal this just to make sure that somebody just doesn't show up one day and starts tearing up our right-of-ways to lay broadband without any knowledge.
So to the chair, they would have to apply for permits. So they wouldn't
Right.
technically be able to just start ripping things up. But, we want to make sure that as we're engaging with our next subset of partners that, this is not hanging over our head. So this just repeals it, gives us the opportunity to move forward.
And this closes the chapter on one, but hopefully we're going to start writing another chapter because the goal is to get broadband throughout the whole city.
Yes.
Any questions on 6/30/2026? You sure?
All right.
All right. Seeing none, 6/30/2026 stands approved.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 623/2026 by council members Casey and Griffin. By departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Innovation and Technology to cause payment to Digital C for 2025 new household internet subscriptions and new digital adoption services. Director?
Through the chair, do you want me front and center? We can bring up our friends from Digital C as well.
That's fine.
All right, guys, come on down.
And just so everybody knows, in section 1, that this council authorizes the Director of Innovation and Technology to cause payment to Digital C in the amounts of $2,350,000 for 2025 new household internet subscriptions and $2 million for 2025 new digital adoption services. So we're going to go through this every year, right? For as long as the contract is for, which is the 5 years. And last year, right, when we did this, there was a lot of discrepancies and we adjusted the payment. This year, it appears that Digital C has met their goals. Now, with that being said, we have done an awful lot of work within the last 2 weeks, speaking with law, meeting with Digital C, having some people who were skeptical go out to Digital C to confirm a bunch of things. And in our meeting with Digital C, I think we have derived a plan moving
Yep.
forward so that this whole thing, as I said last year, can be so much smoother and that you guys don't have to wait 7, 8, 9 months to get your payment, right? I think I mentioned that this time last year, we want to get this done in January, and I believe there's a plan moving forward, Chief?
Yes.
Or Director?
To the chair,
Chief,
yes, there
Director.
is.
Moving forward, that Digital C has kind of said, yes, we can do this. The city's like, okay, yes. Our audit team is going to be on board with it, and hopefully this whole process is going to be much smoother. Digital C is going to be, I won't use the term that I used in our meeting, but you guys are going to be a number one, right, moving forward. So, Chief, and then we'll hear from Josh about our plans moving forward and what it is you found in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, to the chair, thank you for your questions, and thank you to the Digital C team for being here. In the last couple weeks, Internal Audit has completed their audit of Digital C. We've had conversations with them about the work that they have done. We've been on site visits with Digital C, as you said, both some members of council as well as myself and Ricardo Reynoso from our team, taking a look and just really understanding what they have. I get the privilege of being newer in this role, so really getting a pretty thorough tour from the Digital C team. They are doing a lot of really good work, and we want to make sure that that work continues, and we want to make sure that this council fully understands the depth and breadth of the work that you guys are doing. And so going forward, we're going to be making sure that we are doing quarterly reviews. We're bringing internal audit to the table on a quarterly basis. That does not mean we'll be back at the council table, but we will be briefing council on a quarterly basis about where Digital C is in meeting their metrics, so that we are really proactively looking at the next couple of years. This is one of the first performance-based contracts we've done here at the city. And I'm really, as a data person at heart, it makes me so happy that we are doing performance-based contracting. But we are learning how we do this and how we make sure that these audits and these reviews go through on a regular basis. So we've learned a lot in the last couple weeks, and I'm excited that, going into next year, we have an even stronger plan with a better data-informed approach, partnering our urban analytics and innovation team with the internal audit team to be able to regularly review this work on a quarterly basis.
And chief or director? I got two different things in front of me.
The working title is
How about we just call
chief.
you a special assistant to the mayor?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds great.
I love that term, right? Chief, I think one of the big concerns at the last committee hearing was the changing of the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Now, we did meet with Digital C and heard the story from Digital C. Moving forward, though, there will be once numbers are submitted, there's no changing of the numbers, and we've got deadlines that Digital C has to meet in order to get us the data that we need, correct?
Through
going
the chair,
forward?
yes. We're going to put together with Digital C a memo of understanding of what will be due by when and how these changes are going to be monitored going forward. So we are all on the exact same page. I understand as a new nonprofit that, you're working out the muscle strength of how you collect a lot of these metrics from your subgrantees. That one's going to be on Digital C to own how they're collecting all those metrics. I have been in the data lead role for a nonprofit that's subgranting out. I understand the amount and the volume of work that it takes, but yes, there's going to be once we close a quarter, we're going to have to close a quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh, welcome back.
Thank you. And thank you to the council for having us back. To the chief's point, as well as to you all's, the cooperation over these last 2 weeks, it gave us a really good opportunity for us to just showcase the work that we've been able to do and clarify some of those questions that we had. And getting additional time to be able to do so we're appreciative for that.
All right, and to the Digital C team, right? And I know I can see in the back of your minds what you think about the council, more specifically the chair, right? He doesn't care, right? But we're telling you, this is now a year and a half into this, and we've been working together for longer than that, but as far as the dollars are concerned, it's a year and a half. When I tell you that I'm done giving opportunities and chances, you either hit your goals or you don't, okay? We were very lenient the last 2 years. We were very forgiving because we want you guys to succeed, okay? This council wants you to succeed. We want to be able to provide internet for every Cleveland resident, especially those who hadn't had it before, for the $18 a month. But we have to draw a line in the sand. We have to, all right? I'm very confident that you guys have worked out the kinks that we are requiring for the city. This is a lot of money. This is a lot of money. You guys are the single biggest recipient of ARPA dollars, right? And that's why I'm such a bulldog when it comes to keeping an eye on it, because that's what the residents expect, right? And if we just do what we're supposed to do, moving forward, that we will not have any issues. It's my anticipation, January of 2027, a piece of legislation is going to come to me, because all of this is through legislative authority, okay? So you can't move without the council's okay. I'm totally anticipating January 2027 that everything's ready to go, maybe first week in February, whatever, and that we don't have this issue moving forward. If it was up to me personally, when I saw that the numbers were changed, I would have said no, and I would have went with your original numbers, and that would have been the end of it. But I'm giving the new chief, I'm really giving you guys the opportunity to now, I think you all know what you need to do going forward. My last question is, have they submitted their first quarter numbers for 2026?
Through the chair, yes, we have.
Okay, Cool. And now, in July, you'll be submitting the second quarter numbers, right?
That is
Okay, and
correct.
you're working with the audit team. You're work with the director here. She appears to know what she's doing, okay? So
Thank you.
we're gonna have to trust her. We're gonna have to trust her that she's gonna help you guys through this and guide everybody in the right direction.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Councilman Conwell.
When the director mentioned that she's going to give us quarterly reviews, quarterly updates to the chair, is that correct?
That is our goal, correct.
All right, can you show the chair or give to the chair so he could give to us your matrix of doing the quarterly reviews before you give it to us? So if he have any questions, director, to the chair for you, or if we have any questions
Yeah.
on how to read it, then we'll know between you. I'm sorry, to the chair.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, yes. And I think we like to do one better, which is to sit down and make sure we walk through. Some of the baseline metrics are defined in the contract as part of a performance-based evaluation. And then our internal audit team has done some additional checking. Some of what we're going to be doing by pairing internal audit and the urban analytics and innovation team is going to be to take a more automated, data-driven approach to doing those audits and then presenting them to you in a format that's digestible. But I would love to even sit down and with the chair and with any member of the committee and just make sure that you understand, what we're doing as you have questions. Make sure Digital C is proactively answering them so that we are really in a much healthier spot in terms of reviewing the metrics.
And so, through the
Yeah.
chair, when you read the quarterly review, and I'm not saying this to be mean-spirited,
Yeah.
but don't let it get to the end
Yeah.
of the quarter to tell us, here's an issue, here's a concern, councilman, let us know ahead of time, and then that way we can work with them to make sure that it is successful for Digital C as well as for my residents, my bosses.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, long answer short, yes. Agreed, I'm with you,
All right,
Yeah.
pre-testing, post-testing.
yes.
You got it,
Yep.
pre-testing, bam, then post-testing, this is where we need to be.
Gotta
Thank
love
you,
a
Mr.
good
Chair.
experimental design.
All right, you know. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Councilwoman Gray.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I just want to just echo both you and Councilman Conwell pertaining to the audit. Basically, I would like to definitely be brought into the conversation so you can go over everything with me as well
Yep.
beforehand because of the residents in the new Ward 3 now have really exceeded the amount of the service from Digital C. I'm very pleased with it. I have had no complaints at all, but I'm very pleased with your entire staff who I really engaged with when I did come to Tex High. And you guys, I sat down with some of Josh employees when I would come and visit and got a review just saying how the residents enjoyed and also brought some new residents to you as well, and you followed through with them and make sure that they were comfortable with the service and also with the billing. So definitely I would like to stay engaged and involved because of the residents in the ward is tremendously happy in the new Ward 3 with the service that you have given them. So I definitely say congrats and finally come to this point of supporting Digital C. You've done a great job. So just want to continue to have
Thank
that
you.
connection with you moving forward, Chief.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilwoman, yes. And I think just to echo your sentiments of how critically important this work is for our residents, and we want to make sure that, it continues into the future. This is truly important work.
All right, thank you. All right, Chair, thank you.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
could they put in, when they give us a progress review quarterly, a customer satisfaction survey that you put in there, so, because things change, and that way we can monitor, it's our boss's money. And that will help me out. Is that okay?
Sure, we already know what they're going to provide us if you ask for customer satisfaction surveys, but Yes, we will ask for that. Director, you can make sure that
Yeah.
that's part of whatever. Anybody else? So, Josh, you guys have done tremendous work up to this far. I think your hiccups are with us and not with the residents, which is a good thing. You'd rather have it with us rather than the residents, but you have a lot of work ahead of you. So, per the performance contract, how many new households do you need to enroll in 2026?
Through the chair, 7,100.
And then the digital literacy, how many?
Oh, yeah, through the chair, 15,000.
And I just want to remind everybody, these are numbers that we agreed upon, but you came up with, right?
Yes,
Because, again, I hate to keep saying it, but if people would only know the original numbers that were presented to us, Josh had pie in the sky eyes, right? And we had to walk him off the ledge, which is good because he was very, very, very enthusiastic about the progress that Digital C can make. But congratulations. Council legislatively will authorize the $4,350,000 for 2025, right? And you guys are working on 2026 now. Seeing that, no other questions, 6/23/2026 stands approved. Please sign up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief,
Thank you,
congratulations, Digital C, and we look forward to seeing you here, hopefully in January.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Director.
Thank you.
We have public comment. If we can call Reverend Pamela M. Pinkney up. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well this morning.
Said you briefly wanted to speak on ordinance 1218, 2025 and 551, 2026. So we're going to give you 3 minutes, so go ahead.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was trying to wait for the background to calm down a little bit.
Hold on, because I'll stop your time. I'll reset it.
Thank you
Are
so
you
much.
ready?
Yes.
Go ahead, you get 3 minutes.
Just a little scenario of what I do outside of coming down here aggravating your nerves. I'm the pastor of No Fear But God Fellowship Assembly Church Ministries. And as you know, I'm in the political arena. The Cleveland Plain Dealer calls me the political preacher. I'm also a published author, and one of my books that I have been writing and working on is called Gun Violence, The Silence. And what I would like to see this committee do is, because I hear a lot of concerns for elderly people, disabled people, and veterans not being able to afford utilities and the cost of utilities. And I have a lot of people very concerned nowadays about the utility costs going up so regularly. I would like to see the funding to be redirected from guns and so much weaponry into the community. I saw in 12/18, 2025, that it was not going to be, I heard you even mention it was not going to be for public use, and I would like to know how the private sector benefits off of the city of Cleveland off of this ordinance. And for 551, I am concerned about without the competitive bidding process, because in this, without competitive bidding, you leave out the small businesses, you leave out women's businesses, you leave out many of the components of people who don't necessarily have a large corporation that the city of Cleveland could benefit from. And as I stated yesterday, I would like to see more women that look like me on this side of the table instead of always white women in the city of Cleveland representing the city of Cleveland. And it's not an indictment, because obviously I have white in my family, as light skinned as I am, but I would like to see some more people that look like me and even darker than me at this table, because I would like to see our families being able to afford utilities. I just happen to not be one who has that issue, but there are many, and I believe that that could bring our families together more. And I would like for you to present more competitive bidding for small businesses and especially women's businesses in the utility costs. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll address your two questions. 1218, I don't know how it benefits the city residents yet.
The private residents.
The private, yeah, the city residents. But as far as 551, I'm not a fan of without competitive bidding, but unfortunately, in the utility world, a lot of the valves and appurtenances and stuff like that are proprietary. So when you hire a company, if you don't have them work on the pieces of equipment, we lose the warranties. It's just the way utility world works around the world. And it's something
we're not
I
going to
handle
allow
because
them to bully us, and we need to work on that. And if you need to come to the church for us to help you, let us know. We'll do that.
Right, and it's ironic you're saying that to me, but yeah, but one of the problems is in the utility world that a lot of the just things that you need, only certain companies provide them. It's a very small world that we work in.
Would you emphasize to them, since they're going to insist on having their way, that they need to make things more affordable and more compliant for senior citizens, disabled people, and our veterans, and single parents, because what they're doing is damaging and destroying families.
Yeah, and I think this council is very supportive of all of the entities that you named. And
I don't always deal with racism. I deal with the whole component.
Right, I get it.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you so
very
much.
much. All right, to committee members, I usually do not do this, but you saw Monday all the legislation that DPU introduced. So we are going to have one committee hearing sometime this summer. I'll work with you guys to let you know what's better, June, July, or August. But there's contracts that are expiring in September. I'll tell you offline what happened, but we usually don't do that, and I don't usually do anything at committee of the whole, right? I just think that committee of the whole should be for certain things, and we should do all our work before committee of the whole. So that'll be this. If not, this is the last meeting of utilities. We'll meet one time in the summer, and that's it.
Chair, I just had a question regarding the data center moratorium. Will that, I know, my understanding is it's almost done with administrative review, or
This is what I can tell you right now, is that as far as I know, because I have not seen or heard anything, it's still over in administrative review.
Okay.
That's what I know. We probably will most likely have something before us when it comes out of administrative review. I'm assuming sooner rather than later.
That being said, if we want to, I certainly would like to see it passed before we go into the summer break.
That probably isn't going to happen.
Is there any chance we can have that single piece be heard at the committee of the whole?
I won't relieve anything out of utilities. Never have, never will. So hopefully we can meet sometime in June. And that's only a couple of weeks from now.
Okay.
All right. Seeing nothing else, you good, Conwell? All right. The Utilities Committee stands adjourned. Thank you very much.
Individuals were located sleeping inside the vehicle.